admitting he was still obsessed and a little worried his passion would fade someday. Because if his obsession faded, what would he have left? Picking up a picture of his ex-wife and his little boy, his eyes filled with moisture. He'd known from the second he'd met her when he was on an assignment in Hawaii that she was the one. Long dark chocolate hair, cocoa eyes, and tanned skin. She'd been the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen. Still was, even though she'd moved on and remarried. Didn't matter. He would always love her. And their little boy looked just like her, except his eyes were hazel, a mix of Bob's green eyes and her brown. He set the picture down and glanced up into the mirror before him, startling himself for a moment. He'd aged horribly in the last 10 years, a mere shell of his former self. Thin, balding, sandy blonde hair, puffy faded green eyes, and wrinkles. So many wrinkles. Abusing alcohol would do that to a person. He knew that. But he couldn't stop drinking any more than he could stop thinking about that case. He hadn't given up. But his hands were officially tied for now. Unofficially, he would do whatever he damn well pleased. All he needed was a little luck, some new information, a lead, anything that would help him crack what had become his life's work. Somehow, some way, he would prove them all wrong. Or fucking die trying. "See, it's not so bad," Stacy Buchanan said to herself as she pulled into the parking lot of the marina at Coldwater Cove in the northern part of Maine and killed the engine to her Prius. Her hometown was a small, seaside fishing village with a humid continental climate consisting of cold, snowy winters and warm summers. She remembered well the severe nor'easters that would hit between November and March, striking fear into the bravest of sailors. Tourists knew enough to stay far away, but summer was great. As a consolation to their awful winters, direct strikes from hurricanes or tropical storms during the summer were rare this far north because of the cooler Atlantic waters. This time of year had always been Stacy's favorite. Summer meant her town came alive with people. Fishermen filled their boats, and she got to swim in the ocean. Stacy had thought about her town a lot over the years. Coldwater Cove might be a picturesque little fishing village, but fish weren't the only thing abundant in the summer. Tourists came from all over during the warm weather months on their tour of Maine's breathtaking coast, providing most of the town's revenue. Because once the brutal winter came, the cove turned into a dark and desolate ghost town. It was just far enough north that the sun rose and set early, and the harsh weather caused most folks to hibernate. Late spring could be iffy in Coldwater Cove. Snow turned to rain. The ground grew soggy from the winter's melt, and flooding was sometimes a problem. Remembering the fall, she pictured the various shades of orange and yellow and red leaves, vibrant and gorgeous, dotting the landscape like paint on an artist's canvas. Looking around now, she sighed. Spring was a different story. Everything was bare and colorless, but at least it wasn't depressing like the stale and stagnant days of winter. Spring offered hope of new life to come. Rebirth. A fresh start. Clinging to that, Stacy scanned her desolate surroundings as she stepped out of her car, pulled up her hood, zipped up her lined raincoat, and tucked her jeans into her rubber boots. The tourist season hadn't quite picked up yet, and most kids were still in school. The day was a dark and gloomy one in the cove, clouds and ominous gray bulging with rain that had yet to fall. But she didn't care. She could brave it. She was a champion swimmer, after all. While growing up in Coldwater Cove, most of her meets were held indoors. But she had always loved a challenge and swam for miles through the ocean to a few of the many islands offshore, pushing herself to go farther each time. Her father had called her brave, following along beside her as he drove the media in his charter boat. Her mother had been terrified of the water. She'd never missed an indoor meet, but drew the line at watching her.